call the meeting in order for the St. John Waterworks District meeting. With a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
I'm sorry, Kim Kroll,
Here.
Patty Sims-Smarcheck,
Here.
John Schaefer,
Here.
Nick Vertek,
Here.
Greg
Here.
Willa Gorson. Thank you. We have with us Dave from Robinson Engineering, our wastewater foreman, Bob Valoy, and Bill Manisopoulos, town manager.
Next item is approval of the meeting minutes of our last meeting. Looking for a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes of the January meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Old business. Anything under old business? I believe so. Okay. New business.
So on item A, Mr. President, I'm going to ask that we take that last. We can go through the other items on the agenda. Then I would ask for you to call for a recess of the meeting. Allow the sanitary board to go through with their meeting. After they are done, we can reconvene the meeting at 6. Reason for that being is we have bid openings. We did send out an addendum from Haas letting everyone know that it would be at 5. Originally, when we published the bid in the papers, it was 6 o'clock because that was our hours here for the water board meetings. But then when the water board changed it, we just want to make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to bid. So instead of adjournment, we're going to ask for a recess.
Okay. Next item is item B, review possible action taken on the Monix and Gates water plants filter media rehabilitation. We did receive some bids on that. So we'll have, is the contractor in the audience, Peerless? If you don't mind giving us a little bit of presentation on your bid, your proposal that you provided? Yeah, at the podium there, that'd be great.
We were solicited by, well, my name's Kurt. I'm with Peerless Midwest, and I'm a project manager for them, and have been involved with both the Gates and the Monix plants, this project heavily. So we put together a bid that was sent out to us, solicited to us, and we put together a bid, and based upon what the specifications outlined, we followed the specs to the letter of the law as far as the wage rates, the performance and payment bonds, all the other things that were in the specifications as far as videotaping and documentation, and we put together your bid. And the bid was $587,600. And that covers both plants. There's 2 filters at each plant, so there's 4 filters. These are large filters. They're 10-foot diameter, 30-foot long each. And they have current, we call it media, inside the plant, inside the filters. They're designed to take iron out of your water. They're currently just anthracite. There's been new wells developed over in the Gates area. Those wells have the capacity that the town wants to would desire, which means it's about 1,000 gallons a minute or more. However, upon drilling and test pumping them, the wells over in the Gates area did develop some hydrogen sulfide. What hydrogen sulfide means to people like me and you is it just stinks like rotten eggs. And nobody likes to smell it. So one of the best ways to get rid of hydrogen sulfide from water is to aerate it and blow it off into the air, gas it off as they call it. But the bad thing is that leads to smell for all the people that live around the water plant or wherever this treatment's going. And you're going to have the rotten egg smell. So nobody wanted that. So the thing was, what do we do? What's the next process that we can do to mitigate that? So there is a media out on the market. It's a catalytic media, and basically it's designed to take hydrogen sulfide, iron, manganese, arsenic, those types of constituents out of the water. So instead of just reading a piece of paper and saying, this is going to work, the town decided to invest into 3 pilot studies. 3. One on, well, 7, I think it's 7. Yeah, 7, 8, and 9. 8 and 9 have not been put into service. 7 is in service. What a pilot study is, it's an in-depth study where we actually have a mini water treatment plant that we bring to the site with the media that we're proposing to take care of your hydrogen sulfide, iron, and manganese. We then did a study on each one of these wells that took approximately 2 to 3 weeks apiece, collected the data, analytically analyzed it, and have come to the conclusion that this media is going to work. It's been proven to work. At that point, the town has purchased the media. I believe they've taken delivery of the media. And so what needs to be done now is the old media in your filters is getting old too, so it needs to be replaced. The new media needs to be put in, and it needs to be done in a manner that we don't interrupt the current flow to the daily usage to the town. So that's what our bid was about at that point. So I'm willing to discuss anything else, any other concerns that you have, and at this point. I will say that one of the reasons the cost has been increased is because of the Davis-Bacon type wage that the specifications outlined and the project labor agreement that was outlined in the bid. Our bid is conditional. We cannot do this job if we are forced to sign the labor agreement clause. So we can't do that. So we would have to retract our bid and not do the work. So that's a big stumbling block for us. It's something you need to discuss as a group, what you want to do. And also the necessity of this being a Davis-Bacon job. There's a considerable amount of money that you can save, over hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you decide to do it differently. We've already got different proposals out that's been floating around that we've tendered to the town for your consideration. We're willing to do whatever you want, but I can't do the job with the project labor agreement. So, and we stated that in our bid. It's not like I'm just pulling this out tonight. We stated that in our bid. We submitted that with our bid, so we wanted everybody to know that. So basically that's where we're at.
I have a couple questions. Kurt, you said that you couldn't sign the PLA agreement, or the PLA. What exactly did that entitle, and why wouldn't you be able to sign that?
It's our understanding, simply because I was involved in a project at Lake Station, Indiana, 10 years ago that had a PLA agreement, that, first of all, we are a non-union contracting firm, but we pay comparable union style wages and benefits when you're not in Lake, Porter, these 3 counties right and through here. If you go to my county, which is St. Joe County, the Davis-Bacon wage rate is $65 an hour. Our guys are getting paid $59 an hour. Here in Lake County, it's $89 per hour. So that was a big difference. The PLA agreement, as we understand it, unless somebody can tell us differently, and we may be ignorant on this, is that forces us to become a union shop. There's only 3 counties in Indiana that we have to abide by let's just say the rates from Chicago. We cannot compete in Steuben County, Indiana at $89 an hour. We would go out of business. It's our understanding if we sign that PLA agreement that we would become a union shop, and thus it would cause us terrible, we could not recoup from that. We could not do business. We would rather pass on this job and maintain our current style of business than go ahead. So the agreement is the big thing. We have no problems paying, if that's what you want, we have no problem paying Lake County, Davis-Bacon wages to our guys. You guys want to pay that? We'll pay our guys that. No problem. We believe the unions are good, and we have no problem with them, but in our part of Indiana, with the way we pay our guys, we are within 8 to 10% of being very comparable to the union. When we come over here to Lake County, there's a big difference between $59 an hour and direct labor costs. Now, these are direct costs. These don't have any profit. They don't have any overhead put into them. But there's a big difference between direct costs of $59 an hour and $89 an hour. That's where we're at. And I believe there's room to negotiate to a medium wherever you want. You know, we've been working for the town of St. John. In fact, my father worked with Pete Monix. I took over for my dad when he retired, and I worked with Pete. And we've been working with you guys on a basis for 37 years. We've never had to fill out this PLA. We've never had to do any performance or payment bonds. Peerless Midwest is an industry leader in the Midwest as far as it comes to pump and well services. We're not going anywhere. We've had a problem recently with well number 7, and we worked it out between the town, the contractors, and Peerless Midwest. We always solve our problems internally. I mean, we never let them get to your level. Somehow we always work them out. And we've done this type of work at the Monix plant about 10 years ago maybe, where we had a failure in one of your filters. We actually had to remove all the media, fix the filter, reinstall new media, and put it back into service. So this is a job that we've done before for you, but not on the scope or scale, I should say, that we're talking about. We have the people to do it. We have the capability to do it. And we want to do it for you, but we just want to know what you want at this point. And if you can work with us on the PLA agreement, we would be ecstatic and go from there.
And you said that the cost increased because of that. Do you know what percentage that it increased because of the PLA?
There's numbers. I don't know percentages.
Okay.
But we've got like 3 prices on the table. There's anywhere from I didn't bring that with me. There's anywhere,
Touch on that if you'd like me to.
Yeah.
It was around $287,000 difference.
and the reason why there's a big difference there is just think about what we're doing here. We are not supplying any materials. We are not doing anything but labor. This is a highly labor-intensive project. So when you have 5 guys on a job site, sometimes we have 3, sometimes we have 4, sometimes we have 5 on this one. And when you multiply that by the number of man-hours it's going to take to do 2 plants, 4 filters, at 90, close to, well, you do the math between, let's just say, round it up if you want to, $60 an hour to $90 an hour. That's a third, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's where we're at. The big thing was, and then, you know, to be honest with you, we had over $25,000 in direct cost of payment and performance bonds that we've never had. On the other two proposals we have to you, we don't have that cost in there. So
you said you were forced to take out the payment and performance bonds to bid on this?
we haven't taken them out, no,
Oh,
but
okay.
we have the costs
Okay.
of them, in
Worked
case we get the
into-
job if you want to go with the last bid that we just submitted, then those payment performance bonds are in there.
Okay.
And I have a question. The bid that's in front of us, does that include the hydrogen sulfide removal medium, or is that,
The media that you purchased, is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
Yeah,
does
the
it-
media that you purchased, yes. The nice thing is, the media that you currently have in your filters right now are good for only iron. The media that you've purchased not only will take care of iron, but it will take care of manganese, and it will take care of hydrogen sulfide. And you don't have any arsenic in your water, so you don't have to worry about that, but if you had arsenic in it, it'd take care of that too.
and what's the life expectancy of this?
This is not a proprietary product, but to answer your question is, I'm going to give you a range. It's going to be just like normal anthracite. It's going to be somewhere between 15 and 20 years. And that's, anthracite is between that. You can go longer sometimes, but at least 10 to 15 years for sure. Anything after that is depending upon your water quality and how well you maintain it.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question on this. Is this only going to be for this, I mean, you've been working with us for 30-something years. Is this exemption from the prevailing wage only on this project or not on future ones? I mean, we don't want you coming back every single time saying, well, I don't want to pay prevailing wages on smaller projects or something like that.
Only if you issue a specification that says, you know, you will do it. We've never had to do that. Here's the way we've worked in the past. We've identified your problem. Let's say you have a problem with a well or a pump. We come in, we're called in, we identify the problem. We develop a scope of work that'll take care of this problem, and we issue a quote for it. That quote, I don't know what happens after that, but I assume it gets presented to you guys. A guy like Bob comes in, he says, something's wrong with well number 4, we got to do this, that, and the other thing. I believe we've got it properly identified, and the scope of work is what needs to happen. We got the people that can do it, here's the price. You guys look at that, I believe, and if I'm saying anything wrong, let me know. You tell the superintendent that's, you know, the work's been approved. We schedule it, we do it, and then we bill it for what's on the quote at that point. Our guys are paid, and we don't ever have to do the prevailing wage. I believe the prevailing wage and the PLA was just a part of this formal bid process that was put out. If we get into a formal bid process, we're going to be back here talking about that again. But if we continue to do business like we normally do, which is the way most towns and cities do it, the way you're doing it, right, you know, have done it in the past, then we're not going to have to come back and talk about this again. If it's just extenuating circumstances, we did not want to put a bid out and say, oh, you know, we're just going to ignore it, and then all of a sudden get awarded it, and then have to be held accountable to it. That kind of happened to us at Lake Station. We did not understand a PLA agreement at Lake Station. We learned the lesson the hard way, and we are here to say that we just would like to talk about it at this point.
And I know I asked you, Bill, for a
Yeah.
copy of the ordinance.
Right.
And I didn't see anything in there that we could give anybody an exemption. Can we do that? Or is this going to be something that the town of St. John is going to require for all contractors moving forward? I know it's a new ordinance since the first of the year, so
So
we need some,
the way I read it,
understanding.
and I did forward it over to the town attorney for clarification. The way I read it, it was for some jobs, not all. I just wanted clarification before I gave you a certain answer on that.
okay.
So,
So what are some jobs? I mean, is it a amount over a certain amount? Is it, I mean, what are some jobs?
One of the things with the David Bacon Act is if you're using federal money to pay for that project, you have to use that act and go by what those guidelines are and what those requirements are. In this case, we're not using federal money for this job. We're using our own money that we bonded out. So it's not a federal job. The question that we have, that I present, we've got several different options. One is, the other question is does state law require prevailing wage? And if they do, is it only on certain projects, or can it, you know, do we have to buy it on, in this project or not? That is something that we're gonna have to get the attorney to determine, do we have to pay prevailing wage? If we don't have to, in this case, we don't have to, in my opinion, but I'm not an attorney, we don't have to worry about the David Bacon law. If we don't have to pay prevailing wage, he was the sole bidder, we could probably negotiate the cost down because he was the only one that bid on the project, which typically, the law allows you to do that. If you only have one bidder, you can negotiate that price if they're willing to do that. It sounds like the contractor is willing to do that, but before we can award it, we need to have some legal interpretation on what the prevailing wage is, and to make sure we're clear on that. The other option we have tonight would be to reject the bid and go back out to bid. The problem that we're running into is time. This is a project that needs to be completed before mid-May, June, because that's when our water consumption goes up drastically. You know, we're roughly pumping right now about 2 to 3 million gallons a day. Well, once we hit June and the summertime, we're gonna be going up to 6 million gallons a day. So we need those wells up and running. So if we bid this back out again, there could be a big delay, and then we start running into issues, and we may have to buy water from Cherville to keep up with our use. So I think the other option would be too, is if we did bid this out, there's a possibility that we could do this under rebid it, reject this, rebid it, and do it under an emergency type bid, where you limit the time frame. You do it in a much shorter span, possibly a week to 10 days, to get those bids back out and back in. I don't know if that's another thing we have to definitely look as far as state law when we're talking about this kind of money, if we're able to do that. My recommendation would be if we can make a motion to renegotiate the bid price pending interpretation from the legal counsel on what we can do as far as prevailing wage and Davis-Bacon Act to make sure we're not violating that. Pending final approval, make that, if we're able to do that, and then make a final recommendation to have the town council actually award the bid on our behalf, because they have a bid, town council meeting coming up next
The 28th,
28th.
yes. And
If that makes sense to the village manager to do that?
Yeah, I
we can
think-
Get our,
I think that that is possible. And also on the prevailing wage, John, unless it's done by ordinance, we're not obligated to ask for prevailing wage either. So once town attorney gets back with the information we asked for, I will forward it over to you guys. We can either regroup at either a special meeting or, again, like you're suggesting, move it to, give the authority to the town council to go ahead and put that through.
so it's kind of the board's desire on what they would like to see here.
Well, I just have one comment. This is hugely concerning, not only as a member of this board, but as a taxpayer, to have our costs could potentially go up 30% on not only your project, but any project. And we're gonna be losing a valued vendor potentially, and this, I know they've done work forever here because of this new ordinance. We have to find a way to work with this, because we can't afford on any project, not only yours, but all of our others, to go up 30%. Nobody budgeted for that.
And that's clarification. We're gonna get Patty from that wording.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
once again, if we get where the legal counsel says, yes, we're able to do this, we're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, but we can't afford not to
That's-
do the projects that are before us either. So what do we do?
I guess the other question I would have, would the also board entertain if we had to have a special meeting just for this topic to approve it if we get the okay from the legal counsel to renegotiate and get a final revised bid, that we could have a special meeting to go ahead and approve this then. Special meeting would take 48 hour.
48-hour notice, yes.
So can we just table it until we get clarification from
Yes.
legal?
Yes.
And then, do we need a motion for that?
I would say let's get a motion for that until we get answers from our legal counsel.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to table the Monix and Gates Water Plants filtration media rehab bid until we get clarification from our legal counsel, and then hold a special meeting.
And also, if you can include that, we would then renegotiate the current bid.
And to renegotiate the current bid.
We're happy to do anything it takes to get the job done. We've already got the numbers on the table, so it's not like there's going to be any surprises.
Motion made, second.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Item C, approval of task order for Robinson Engineering for design engineering on wells 8 and 9. Tom, if you want to make
I can actually speak to that,
All right.
Mr. President. This is the revised cost for the task order for final design for well house number 8 only, and this is based on having the documents that we received from Haas Engineering and utilizing those as much as possible. Once we get 8 done, we're thinking that we could have some savings on 9, depending on how much we can copy over. So we'd probably like to do that as a separate task order, if that pleases the board.
And what's the, you have a total lump sum on this?
Yeah, not to exceed 35,000. It's on the second page under compensation.
And can you briefly go over on what this task order will include so the audience kind of knows what's being done?
Yes, the previous town engineer, Haas and Associates, designed these two well houses to about a 70–80%. So this would be to take their design and finish it up, do all the permitting, and get it out to bid for construction.
Discussion from the board? Questions? Any comments from staff or anything on this?
I have none.
I would then entertain a motion to approve the task order and scope of work for an amount not to exceed, what was that dollar amount?
35,000.
I will make that motion.
We have a motion, need a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and second to approve task order for Robinson Engineering and scope of work for the design of wells 8 and 9 in the amount not to exceed 35,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item D, discussion of possible future well location.
I can speak on that. So this is the Altoff Homes. This is the Grove development. I believe there's 368, 70 houses going in there, but there is a future well location out there that we did a fracture trace analysis a couple years ago. And there's an area that we would like to drill a test well there. And as you see, the test well is $10,945. That will be with Sheehy Well and Pump. And they will come in, drill a 5-inch test well. We will then do a test pumping or pump test and see what kind of quality and quantity we can get out of that well, and then decide and go from there if it's worth drilling a production well. And if you scroll up a little bit, other way, down, sorry. Next number you see there is, I do have to have Peerless come out and restake it because it is in a farm field and the farmers ran it over, so we got to restake the well. That's that $1,100 right there. And if you scroll down, this is what a production well would be, a 16-inch production well. That would be after we have decided that there is good quality and quantity out of there, and we would pursue it.
So does Sheehy have to sign a PLA?
I don't believe so because of the, it's not over, I think it's got to be over 150,000 to go out for bid, correct?
Bid amount would be 150,000.
Yes, so no, they're well under that. But the production well, that's when we would, it's over 150,000.
So we could be looking at a 30% increase on that, too.
Mm-hmm.
Special, okay.
Anybody in the audience here from Altoff Homes? Bob, could you just briefly describe where this well would be located at?
Sure. It's west of Park Place in 101st. It's the Helen Wine Farm where they're tearing down a house. Actually, today they're tearing down a house out there. It's on the north side of the gates. If you head west on 101st, it's probably 200 to 300 feet off of 101st is where the well site location is, over between Renaissance and the open field there. If that helps. It's hard to show you without a map.
The other question I have is, what is the urgency to do this?
Altoff is trying to develop that area and come up with a plan. So this is probably the best time to get out there in case they need to rearrange their plans and their development. Because right now they show, I believe it was a park and maybe a retention area in that location. So if we come out there, we drill a well, we then get the property deeded to us, build a well house, pump house, they have to redevelop everything, that portion of it.
I guess my comment on this is, as a home builder, and the amount of homes that they build, and this is potentially up to 1,000 homes in that area? Yeah.
Not that location, that's 3 location developments combined, but yes, 360 to 70 homes in this development.
My thought on this, but it's up to the board on what they want to do, is that the developer pay for that test well. It's his development to see if homes are gonna need to go in there or not. I feel it would be his expense to at least determine if a well can go there or not for that subdivision. It's $10,000, but, you know, if it is and it's viable, those are all costs that can be associated when he actually sells those lots off. For the town of St. John to go in there and just do a test well, whether it's good or not, there's, at that point, if it's not good, we spent $10,000 and didn't find anything out. You know,
That makes
we found
sense.
that it doesn't supply the water that we need. I think that test well should be done by the developer as part of his development costs. It's just like engineering, when he does engineering for a subdivision or anything else, he has to put that money to put those plans together and everything else. Well, this would be part of the plan for the development, to see if it's a viable spot for a well. And then we know for sure that, yes, we can support that development because we know that there's enough groundwater, well, that we can draw out of there. But that would be up to him to say that, yes, there is. Instead of the town investing in that and not getting any benefit at first.
And none of this project has been approved by any plan commission or anything else, correct? So we don't even know if our infrastructure can even handle these additional homes
Well,
at this point.
that would be a engineering
Yeah.
answer for you, but
My suggestion, to be fair also to the builder, since he's not here, that we table this right now, if we can wait a month. And we ask the developer to come in and talk to the board.
So since they are still in the planning stages, that's something we can bring up to them and see if he's in agreement with that, amongst other things.
Bob, I got a question too, is besides just like what John was saying on the 10,000, but even then, like the water sampling and the analysis and all that, I mean, he's gonna get a huge, building out of it. But you're looking at like 20,000 here and 10,000 here for another test. He should be responsible for some of that too, we're.
past practices, I agree. Past practices have been, we have drilled the test well. Then if we get good water quality and quantity out of it, then we get the property to the town, purchased or however it's worked out, and we always drilled everything. But I understand where you guys are coming from, and that's your discretion.
And I know, John, we've had this conversation, we've had this with Bob. As long as we are keeping up the pace of looking into these new wells and everything else, we don't see an issue with us being able to supply water into the future. Of course, these subdivisions and developments that are coming in aren't being built overnight. So as those, if and when they are approved, as they are approved, we are also moving forward with our infrastructure also.
And honestly, this goes back to all of these projects we have rolling right now, the media, because that increases our plant capacity and what we can pump out compared to what we can produce daily now. So that jumps, I don't recall the number from where we're at, probably approximately 2 million gallons a day, I would think.
I don't recall either.
Right, but all of this moving forward, as long as we're staying proactive and doing what we're doing now, we'll be fine with water, in my opinion.
Pleasure of the board.
Motion the table until they have a representative here.
I think that would be fine with me if that's the motion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Motion made, second,
I'll second that.
Second.
to request Altoff Home Builder to be at the next meeting to discuss this well drilling. Test well.
Is this something the board would like to see moving forward on other developments, or is this just for this one in particular because there is a well site that we were testing?
In my opinion, any new development that's going in and where it's gonna require to look at if we have to add wells or what it's gonna take for water consumption or whatever, I think they should come before the board so we can ask those questions and know what the infrastructure is and how we're gonna be able to sustain this. You know, we can't just look at today. We have to look at what our future's gonna be. And as we all know, you know, just in our water pumpage now, wintertime, it's not an issue. It's summertime when we have irrigation systems and everything else that our quantity goes crazy.
Yep,
So,
agreed.
I agree.
okay, motion made, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Discussion on new Vector truck upgrades. I'll open this up to Public Works.
Sure. After looking at the specs of what we were ordering and comparing it to what we need and talking with staff, we've come to the conclusion that we would like to see the upgrades for the new vac truck in lieu of what we had submitted prior to the first of the year. Some of the changes are just, the big costly one is the Vector dual stage fan system instead of the single stage. After speaking to the rep, they said the suction for this vac truck is 15-foot lift approximately, and then if we went, that's for the single stage, what we had purchased. We want to change that to the dual stage because we have wet wells in our sanitary lift stations that are 30+ feet deep. So we wouldn't even be able to use our new vac truck in those locations. That's the big ticket item. And then another one is the belly pack wireless control system. That's actually a remote control that instead of standing at the truck and using hand signals with your guy over here, it's safer. You can literally walk right up to where you're working and control the whole truck. So that's more of a safety concern. Everything else is lights. We had 2 lights on the old one. We upgraded that to 14 lights because a lot of work happens at night. It's not during the day. But yeah, that's what we're asking for. We did do, we had our old truck evaluated for a trade-in appraisal to help take on some of these new items, and they offered us $20,000. So between the 3 boards, or 3 sanitary water and storm, it would be $30,210. So we'd be asking for, or Bill, you want to relay on that one?
When we, if you decide to approve these upgrades to this unit, if we can have a motion to, I'm sorry, if we can have a motion for you to allow us to purchase it for the total price minus that all in one, as opposed to you've already approved the truck, now you're approving upgrades and also the trade-in. So a motion to approve altogether the amount of, sorry. Bob, the original was 444.
I don't have that on me.
I'm sorry, I thought I had that in front of me. The original price on the 445,000.
It is,
So the total option sale price of $50,210, is that what you're asking
No,
for?
I have that.
Oh.
The original price of the vehicle, or the truck.
I want to say the original price. Oh, okay. So the total price would be $474,822.00.
And that's minus the,
That's with the upgrades,
with the upgrades, minus the 20,000.
minus the
trade-in?
$20,000 trade-in value.
Okay. So the 478 is what would need to be approved.
474,822.
474, 8,
22.
22. So we would ask that you reapprove this vehicle as a whole for $474,822.
So I'm confused because I thought the council had already approved the purchase of the Vector truck.
So it is, and it has, as far as the board also, but we're going to put it back on to the council agenda if you guys approve it to purchase for the upgrades and everything as one
Okay.
single purchase.
And then how much, is this going to be split between water and sanitary, or?
This will be split the same way through stormwater, water, and sanitary, the percentage that you're paying. So the 30,210 will be split amongst the three accounts.
22 will be split.
Right. But, there you go.
Bob, do you anticipate that there'll be any other items that you'll need for this?
No, this should do it, yes.
Okay.
We should be good.
And then when do we expect to take delivery?
It's in chassis form right now, so they're waiting to hear from us before they start building it. So I'm hoping by early next year. I'm hoping. Maybe spring.
Is there any possibility that we can get ARPA funds to cover any of this?
I can check balance with the clerk treasurer and get back to you on that one.
Okay.
But
So I
again,
guess-
the differential on it, Kim, is per board would be about $10,000 more. So,
Okay.
so you're asking for us to check as far as the extra 10,000 from the ARPA funds?
No, the 474,822. Or any
So-
parts thereof.
Yeah, the board already approved the initial
Yes.
purchase, so I guess we would need a motion to amend the initial
Purchase price.
purchase price that the water board approved, to amend that new purchase price of $474,822 to be split between the water board, water utility, sanitary district,
And
and
stormwater.
and stormwater.
All right, I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. consider a engagement letter between the town of St. John and Baker Tilly. Agreement to comply with the financial statements for continuing disclosure of annual filings related to the water bonds. Do you have any explanation on
This
that?
this is your yearly, Baker Tilly does this yearly. They compile all the finances and do all the reporting for the bonds for the water board.
Okay, the only question I have on that is the fee that we have, that we pay them already, does not include any of this?
This is, their hourly rate and everything is explained in the packet, but this is something that they have to keep us compliant. Every year they have to go through all this.
Basically, it's like an audit?
Yes. I wouldn't use word art, but yes.
The only phrase, the only question I've got in here, I think that was in the, I just want to make sure if we approve this, that they're not holding us to future years. There's language in there that kind of sounded that way, that we're only approving it for this, for the fiscal year of 2023, correct?
Right, this will be for last year's bond information.
Right.
Yes. And then it'll come before you, as long as we're holding debt through the bond, we will be doing this every year, John.
Correct. It's just that we're not locking into next year yet, just in case we decide we want to go with another accounting firm.
If the board decides to use a different firm and they offer those services, you can switch that over to them.
Okay. Any discussion on the board?
No.
Looking for a motion to approve the agreement with Baker Tilly?
Motion to approve.
Looking for a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Reports of engineering projects. Robinson?
Thank you, Mr. President. We've already been through the filter media and the well houses. That leaves the altitude valves remaining to be discussed. We have the IDEM permit applications ready for town signature. We'll get those sent in. Immediately once we get the permits approved, Hack Street can start. And then Kilkenny will need to be bid because we have to build the bypass valve and the structure to house it. So that'll put us over the bid limit. Moving along.
Anything under project reports?
Just for construction, the only thing we have on construction that's water is Acorn, which is substantially complete. We just need to get the punch list items done in the spring, any sodding that needs to be done, and get that one closed out.
Okay. Any reports from staff?
Well, I believe we pretty much touched on everything, but after, I was just, the altitude valves, yes, we are working on. I still haven't seen the construction costs for those yet. I didn't know if we had those or, but we can talk about that later. So, no, we touched on everything pretty much, so I have nothing.
Anything from the town manager's office?
No report at this time.
All right, next item, payment of bills. Consider to approve a progress payment to M&J Underground for the Acorn Water Improvement Project in the amount of $524,685.30. And authorize the village clerk treasurer to issue payments from the 2021 water bond. Looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
I will second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried. Consider approval of a progress payment to Haas Associates for the 2024 various water main replacement projects in the amount of $6,029.25, and authorize the village clerk or the town clerk treasurer to issue payment from the 2021 water bond fund. Looking for a motion and a second.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carried. Accounts payable voucher dated February 21st, 2024, representing payment for payroll, supplies, services, equipment rendered to the water district in a combined total of $30,096.28. Looking for a motion and a second.
Motion to approve.
I will second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item D, accounts payable voucher dated February 21st, 2024, representing payment for payroll, supplies, services, and equipment rendered to the water utility for the town of St. John in a combined total of $1,490,121.03. Looking for a motion and a second.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried. Let's see. I guess we'll suspend the meeting. Looks like we'll suspend the meeting for 5 to 10 minutes, so we can open up.
3 minutes?
So the actual bid opening will be televised, or will be recorded, so we can recess for 3 minutes.
Okay.
Well, we still have to cover public comment.
We can do that right after we do the bid
Okay.
opening. Because we have to be
Okay,
on time for the bid opening.
okay.